titled it How E-Commerce Sellers Can Benefit from TikTok, but really any brand. And the reason I positioned it e-commerce sellers is that every brand should, at this point in time, understand that they're going to have to make some type of shift into e-commerce, whether they have already or whether it's something that is going to come later. So I'm quickly just going to share a little bit about my story, go through what is TikTok in case you guys are curious, why should you care about it, how to get started on it, how to create some strategy around it. Then once you're gaining some success, what to do with that, and how to really integrate it into what you're already doing so that you're not taking up a ton of extra time, so that you're not really taking on this enormous extra task. Then we're going to talk about, and then we're going to have a Q&A. So we're also going to have Q&A throughout the whole presentation. If you have any questions, comments, ideas, thoughts, please do post them in the comments. So a little bit about me. I didn't know that I was an entrepreneur until I had a little bit of a breakdown in college. My whole life up until then, I thought I wanted to be a veterinarian. And then in college, when I was taking 5 classes, one of them being calculus, one OChem, another one biology, along with 2 other difficult classes, finals came around and I realized like I wasn't happy at all. I hated all the classes. I didn't like all the pressure that came with trying to get into a really difficult school. And at the same time, I'd been doing copywriting freelance on the side for about 3 to 4 months, and I'd been making pretty good money with it. So I made this kind of monumental decision to drop out of college, do the freelance writing full time, and just kind of figure it out from there. I really didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew that I wasn't going to be in school anymore because it was making me unhappy. So I did that for a while until me and my husband were actually in a gas explosion that caused us a lot of financial, distress, a lot of emotional distress, and it put us in a position where we actually ended up being homeless for a while. When we were homeless, I had a lot harder of a time getting these freelance writing gigs because it was even hard just finding internet and things like that. So at that time, we decided to spend a lot of our free time building a business, coming up with a product idea, creating that product, and I started my first business in 2011 with my husband, Ben. I was having a lot of success with that business. We were able to get out of the homeless situation, then switched into another business actually before I got into glass blowing, and that was in 2015. And when I got into glass blowing, it was a really opportunistic time for me to do that on Instagram. I'd been operating and marketing and selling for my businesses through Instagram this entire time, and we were able to do more than $500,000 in sales in the first 3 years, and we're now very close to $1 million in sales with our glass blowing business, all of it through Instagram. So things were going really well on Instagram. Why did I even switch on to TikTok? And that's because even though sales were good, our growth completely plateaued and then actually even started to diminish a little bit. So we weren't getting any new customers. Instagram was not showing our posts anymore to a new audience. And I love growth. I love the idea of connecting with new audiences, of meeting new people. That relationship building part of business is really important to me. And so I started exploring and experimenting with some other platforms and had very fast success with TikTok. Within the first 2 weeks, I got my first viral video that started getting millions of views. And so I started thinking, how is this even possible? Like, I was mind boggled because I didn't know it was even possible to post a video and get 1 million views when your account had 6,000 followers. That's not how Instagram works. And so I started analyzing and experimenting with each video, coming up with a hypothesis and analyzing the results, pulling out patterns, creating data that I could look at. I was able to find some really great patterns and some things that hold true for TikTok because they hold true for people. And through implementing these strategies and these things that I noticed, I was able to grow to 1.7 million pretty quickly, and then all the way to 2 million more recently. I also started up a second account as a proof of concept of kind of that my ideas were valid and that they weren't just ideas I had, but glass blowing really was the thing. So I started up an account in the food vertical to go, you know what, this information that I've been able to gather, it really does apply to any industry. And also I really love food and desserts, so that made a lot of sense for me to do. I have then jumped on LinkedIn, and I jumped on LinkedIn it's probably about about 10 months ago now, and just started talking and sharing about what was happening on TikTok, telling people about what I'd done with my glassblowing business, and realized that there was a lot of value that I had that other people could use, and I just hadn't been aware of that value to them. I thought, oh, everyone knows this, don't they? And it turns out, no, everyone doesn't. And so I started really sharing information and building up a personal brand. I then was able to launch my own, I would call it a consulting agency because that's mostly what we do. We also do some video production, but that company I called My On Gordon Media because I am creating it to be a vehicle for what I do as a person and a machine for what I do individually on a larger scale. So what is TikTok? If you're still wondering, it's a lot more than a social media app. It really is a market analysis tool and a market research tool. It is a product testing tool. It is a way to understand culture. It's a way to build communities. It's a way to market, and it's a way to grab and build attention. So I'm quickly, Tony, do we happen to have any questions at this point?
If you have a question, please put it in the chat.
Cool, yep. So why should you guys care about TikTok? One is it's got unprecedented opportunity for organic growth, meaning you can hop on the platform and with 0 followers from your first video, go viral based on the quality of the content and how much people enjoy watching your content. Now, once you build up some amount of attention, whether that's through a video that was really successful or whether that's through the number of followers that you have, you're going to get access to people. You're going to have conversations with people that wouldn't want to have conversations with you previously because they're all of a sudden very interested in you. And curiosity is one of the most powerful things, not only in our day-to-day lives, but in business. I will only do research on a product or a company or a person if I'm first interested and curious enough. And TikTok's really a tool that allows you to build curiosity in others. So as we said, it's great for product testing. It does have its own analytics that you can look at. Now, it's not super robust, but the data is very valuable. And there's one data point in particular that I think is the most valuable, which is average watch time. So you can take any video and see at what point in the video people were dropping off. And this is really valuable to understand where people are connecting with your videos and where they are not. And getting better at video marketing is the answer to being successful at business. We connect through video in such a more powerful way than we do through text because there's just more data for our brains to process. There's sound, there's visuals, there's flow of movement. There's all these different things that we're absorbing in through our brain that make it really powerful and compelling when done right. So there's also going to be a bunch of integrations because TikTok has grown so phenomenally big. It's done so well. It's got so much support. There's a lot of other businesses that are interested to partner with TikTok, interested to integrate with TikTok. They are already working with some larger platforms to integrate links into videos. So you'll see this on some videos. It's not a widespread feature yet. I do have access on it to my account. If you want to check it out, World of Glass on TikTok. I'm not sure exactly which video, but if you scroll through the videos, you'll see 1 or 2 that have a tag, a yellow tag that you can tap on, and it takes you directly to a purchase for a t-shirt. So they're going to be integrating with lots of other platforms that already have products that are sold. I really, predict that Amazon is going to be one of those. You also have the opportunity to make direct sales, whether people are messaging you through Instagram or whether you have your email address in your bio and people message you that way. It's very, very easy to get people to message you if you have something that they want and your videos are compelling. In addition to that, if you are really just interested in driving traffic somewhere else, again, you have the ability to do that both now through the link in the bio, and as they develop the platform and add more features, there will be direct click-through links in the videos, or at least attached to the videos. So some of the basics about TikTok, there's really a lot to know. It's a super complicated app in terms of how many features there are. For example, there's over 100 different effects and filters, many of them AR, augmented reality, to where like one of them, for example, you open your mouth like that and your face turns into a dragon and it breathes fire. Like, they're very interactive, they're very cool. And then there's more simple ones, classic to the style of Instagram, where you swipe and it kind of changes the saturation, changes the contrast, changes some things about the lighting in the visuals of the video. So there's so many elements. There's also voiceover, there's voice effects, making your voice sound like a chipmunk or super low like a bass or like a robot. And so it can be confusing to figure out what you should focus on. So these are the things I would suggest focusing on. Be consistent in your posting, because the more data that you can give yourself, the more quickly you will pull out information and the more quickly you will be able to make progress. And feeling progress is really the motivator that keeps us all going. You also want to experiment with different ideas, whether that's completely different ideas, almost in a throwing spaghetti on the wall type of way, seeing what sticks, or whether it's having very constructed series of videos and experimenting within those series. So for example, let's say you're gonna do a Fruit Ninja style series of videos. If you don't know what Fruit Ninja is, it's a series of videos people are doing on TikTok where they pull a sword or a knife out of the sheath very quickly and put it back, and then all of a sudden a fruit falls cut in half. So that's a very deliberate, structured style of video, but you can experiment. Do people like it when you chop an avocado better? Or do they like it when you chop up an almond? Or you could literally substitute any fruit, any food that you could possibly think of, and that's a way to experiment in a very structured way. Some visual things, you got to make sure that you've got good lighting. There aren't heavy shadows. We really don't like shadows unless it's just visually captivating, right? There's always going to be certain things and certain exceptions to the rule where like it makes you stare at it. Anything that would force you to stare at a video is generally a good thing, but we don't stare at underlit videos typically. Another way to tap into that is by using bright colors, especially unnatural colors. So our brains have evolved over millions of years in a couple ways. Fight or flight is one that I'm sure you're aware of, and that plays into movement. So there's a reason that sports bars all have so many TVs. It's because you can't really help but looking at them, because our eyes are trained to look at movement just to make sure it's not a predator trying to kill us. Same thing with bright colors like pink, orange, purple. Those are colors that say maybe poisonous plant or poisonous animal. And so those are colors that we just will look at microseconds longer, that our eyes will be drawn to a little bit more and will be captivated in a little bit more emotional of a way just from the color scheme. So that's something to think about. Another thing in terms of movement, but also in terms of reading, is pop-up text. When you start reading something, it's hard to stop reading something. You usually want to finish the phrase or the sentence. So throwing up some pop-up text as the video is happening can allow you to grab people's attention right when maybe it normally would have dropped off. In addition to pop-up text, you get the caption space. The caption is on top of the video at the bottom left-hand part of the screen on TikTok. In case you didn't know, TikTok videos are completely full screen vertical. They're not square like Instagram or horizontal like YouTube. And that's one of the big differentiators about why a lot of these things come into play. When you have to look at the entire surface of your screen versus one square, your eyes have to use more movement over the screen. Therefore, they're a little bit more interested in lingering on things that interest your eyes or your brain or grab your attention. It's a very different brain dynamic in terms of the engagement in the brain activity that you're performing while viewing on TikTok. So you also want to make sure that the video isn't just cool or good, but that it makes someone feel something. Really, the videos we like the most are the ones that captivate us emotionally, connect with us emotionally, and make us feel something. So really try and achieve that in your videos. A way you can try and get better at that is by creating drafts, giving yourself a break, coming back and then watching the drafts and really trying to objectively grade them on how they made you feel. The other thing is to be brave with your content. And what I mean by that is you're going to get a ton of ideas in your head. And then there's going to be all these voices that say, no, that's not a good idea. That's stupid. Or maybe, but I'm not going to try that out because blank, 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 dot, dot, dot. And I think you should just post it anyway, because by nature of how the app works, if it's not a good video, the app won't show it to anyone. No one's going to see it. People do not go to other people's profiles to view videos the same way that they do on Instagram. And that's really something you got to get in your head, is that 90%, it might be 80%, but at least 80% of all the videos people watch are on that home page, on the For You page, which is the algorithm delivery page. So, and the reason for that is because it's designed to deliver videos in a way to satisfy you and make you happy, and it's learning your preferences. There's a lot that goes into keeping you on the For You page. So you don't have to worry if you have a crappy video, just no one's gonna really see it. And if you want, you can delete it, not a big deal. Tony, do we happen to have any questions at this point?
Yes, we do.
Wonderful.
Hold on just a second.
And then you guys can see right here and read that. But consuming content, and even just on a micro level of 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, but let's say having a notebook while you're doing it, grabbing a notebook and taking notes of what you notice. There's no type of specific research, just write down what you notice, what you feel, and what you noticed you paid attention to. And you'll start to see patterns over time that you can then apply to your own videos.
Okay, that was the only question we have so far.
What was? Does it pop up somewhere I'm supposed to see?
Oh, you didn't hear the question? What are some of the best brands who use TikTok to target 35-year-olds?
Gotcha. To target 35-year-olds.
And older.
And older. So right now there are not a lot of brands on TikTok. I'm thinking, because I have like a master spreadsheet I'm working on that has probably about 150 brands right now. The main categories, just so you guys know, because it's a great question, would be clothing, food, let's see, health and medicine, beauty. Did I say fashion? Let's see, real estate's coming on. They're coming on a little bit. There's a number of realtors. And then there's education, but there's not a lot of brands yet. They're starting, the education brands are starting to jump on TikTok. But in terms of, brands specifically targeting 35 and older, I'm not even sure, like, what would an example of a brand like that be? Like a health insurance, or I'm not sure what brands would specifically only target 35 and older, but not a lot of them are on there yet. I think what happens with TikTok and the way it works is it does favor content that people have already shown interest in. So for example, if you post a dancing video and it's a good dancing video, it's probably going to get seen by a lot more people than if you post let's say a woodworking video and it's a good woodworking video. And that's because there's a much larger audience for people to watch dance videos than there are for people to watch woodworking videos in terms of what people have indicated to the app. Now, that doesn't mean that there couldn't be someone who is a woodworker who comes on with a new style or type of woodworking, or even just a new style of video around woodworking, and creates the interest. In fact, that's what happened with me and World of Glass. Before I came on the platform, I don't think, there might have been one other glass blower. There are almost no other glass blowers. There was no indicator that there was any interest in glass blowing content. Especially because the first couple of videos I posted didn't do that great. I mean, they did fine, a couple hundred views. One got like 1,000 views. But then I hit on something that snapped the system, so to speak, and made the system realize that there was a huge demand for something content-wise and visually that didn't exist before on its platform, and it created a new category for it. And now there's lots of glass blowers on the platform, and they do very well. If a glassblower hops on now, they have a better chance to grow quickly because they're in a content category that the app has determined there's a high interest level for with a low level of demand. So you have to remember TikTok works on a supply and demand basis. Demand for videos, supply of videos. So your video is always competing against the other options for what the app could choose to show someone.
We have another question if you'd like.
Absolutely, I would love it.
How do you suggest developing an education brand on TikTok?
Yeah, so luckily there's tons and tons of educational content that you can look at already. So I would absolutely spend a good amount of time doing research. Here's how you do research with hashtags. And this plays into kind of this slide as well. So first, I think figuring out why are you on the app? What's your goal? Are you trying to drive traffic? Are you trying to create attention? Are you trying to build a new audience? Are you trying to connect with celebrities and people who can give you free press and more attention and publicity? Once you figure that out, then research what the other creators are doing in your vertical successfully to achieve the goal that you want to achieve. So with education, I'd say the strong categories would be math. Math is probably the biggest out of education. Science is really strong, although within science, it's going to be a lot of visual experiment videos versus math. You will see a lot of straight up writing on a whiteboard type videos that do very, very well. People love to learn math, especially kids really love to learn math. It's a very empowering thing for them. So I would do a bunch of research, come up with 3 to 5 series ideas. And when I say series ideas, I mean, here's an example of a series. And it would be, math problem Fridays, or how about this, fraction Fridays, right? And every Friday you do a video where you teach people something about fractions. And the visual part of, so that's the content idea. The visual structure of the video is that you're using, let's say, a different colored sparkle pen to do the math problem on different colors of construction paper each week so that you can test if there's some combination of those two things that people go gaga for visually. So it's adding the visual elements to the educational and empowerment elements to relatability. That's another big one that I haven't talked about yet. You have to make sure that the content that you're educating on is relatable to people. So teaching people about how to build a car engine, not going to be really relatable because one, a lot of people just aren't that interested. Two, out of the people who are, like, they don't have the parts or the tools or the money to actually build the car engine. And so you want to make sure you're teaching people things that in their head, when they're watching the video, they go, oh, that's so cool. I'm going to do that. I'm going to use that info. Because that feeling, when I think that thought, when I watch a video and think that thought in my head, I heart it. I might leave a comment. I might share it because I felt strong emotional engagement and I really was delivered value in terms of empowering myself mentally. When you think to yourself, that's awesome, I learned something, I'm better, I'm going to do better, you've literally empowered yourself in a really profound way. And I'm sure a lot of you guys know and have seen in your own lives that the more positive thoughts that you have, the more empowering thoughts you have about yourself, the more you take action, the more successful you become. So I think TikTok's really an amazing tool driving that. So what types of videos? Again, I think that that's really going to come for a lot of you guys from research and seeing how do other people create videos. That's going to help you generate some ideas. But it's really either something visual, something funny, something empowering and educational, or something surprising. Like, people always love to be surprised on every and any level. So those are, I think, all of the main things of, like, really what type of video. Again, in terms of visual structures, you can look and see all the different camera angles people like to use. You can see all the different cuts in the way that people time their videos. Like, there's really, again, so many factors. I think that you should go look, see what resonates and connects with you. And when you watch it, if you see something and you get that feeling of, like, oh, that's cool, I kind of want to try that, or, like, I think I could do that and make a good video like that, that's what you should be trying to produce content around. Are there any new incoming questions?
Yes, we have a few. So
Okay, cool. You're muted right now. I'm not sure if you know that.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
What are your favorite apps to edit a video before you post it live on TikTok?
Ooh, great one. Splice. That is the only editor app I use. It's only available on iPhone, not on Android. They might have changed it recently. I would double check that, but since I last checked, it's just an iPhone one. And the things I do in it are split the video, delete portions that are boring, so to speak, or too movement. So that's another thing. People don't like a lot of camera movement unless it's deliberate. So it looks really cool when you do like a swish into the scene, but like if you have shaky camera, that's not gonna fly. People don't like shaky camera. No Blair Witch Project style videos, so to speak. And then the other thing I do is I do a lot of speeding up. So a TikTok video is only, you really want it to be, and this is another thing to bring up, you want it to be 10 to 15 seconds. It can be 6 seconds, experiment with the times. But going over 15 seconds and really having someone watch that whole 15-second or 17 or 20-second video for the average person is really hard to achieve. And that average watch time is really, really important. If people are not watching your whole video, TikTok's not going to show it to anyone.
Ready for another one?
Yes.
Is it harder for a bigger and already established company to start on TikTok than startups? And do you have examples of bigger brands that leverage TikTok?
Yeah. So I would say yes, but only because typically bigger companies are not as fast or as swift in taking action or making decisions. And well, I won't make a generalization in how businesses spend their money, but I think that, big businesses, they want everyone to be on the same page when they're making decisions about going on new platforms or about investing, money with the business. And it's hard to get everyone on the same page with TikTok sometimes because there's always, at least right now in the kind of ecosystem, there's always someone who's like, I really don't think that's for us, or like, I really don't get TikTok. And that can make people feel like, okay, well, we don't have a unanimous yes to move forward with this. So like, we're not going to really dip our toes into it. There are, though, a lot of brands that are larger that are using it very, very well. Nike is using it very, very well. Elf Cosmetics did a campaign where they crushed it. I just listened to a podcast from Gary Vee from his Marketing on the Now, with the Now, on the Now, where he had I think it was the CEO of Chase Bank, or at least the marketing director from Chase Bank, and they did a campaign on TikTok that they said before they did the campaign, that people really didn't think that much of it. Like it's a very small spending campaign compared to, let's say, the campaigns they do on Instagram or television or many of the other places that Chase Bank advertises. But the impact of it that they felt was profound. And much larger than the investment that they made. And that's because TikTok is more than just a platform, it's a community. And when you give and provide value to communities, and when you foster and help create communities, that feels good. It empowers us. It creates something more valuable sometimes than just awareness. It creates a movement or a feeling, something that people really take with them. So some other brands that are doing well, there's a lot of food brands. Again, like I said, food's a strong category. So Gushers, I think Oreos is on there. There's some big, fashion brands like Calvin Klein. In terms of leveraging it outside of TikTok, I haven't actually seen a lot of brands do that. I don't know that I'm well enough informed to say that they aren't. I just haven't seen them talking about their campaign on TikTok on, let's say, Instagram, which is something I always encourage brands to do, is to talk about what you're doing on one platform on another platform. It's very interesting to people to find out what you're doing on TikTok when they're not on TikTok, but they do follow you on Instagram, or they do follow you on LinkedIn or Facebook. So I think that that's a really, useful thing to do.
Do you want another one?
Yes, please.
How does it compare to YouTube?
Cool. So it's like like if I had to describe the app it's the most like YouTube because it is a platform for watching videos. But YouTube videos, I would say average, let's say between 5 and 20 minutes, or many of them go 40 to 60 minutes. YouTube also has a lot of movies now. In fact, I see very much YouTube turning into an Amazon Prime or a Netflix, a place where people put movies because there's monetization directly from views, which makes that really attractive. It's completely open for anyone, like anyone, there's no, you don't have to get your foot in the door. Like you can't make a movie for Netflix and post it on Netflix, but you can do that with YouTube, and it can become not only something that you make money from, but that leads to other things in a profound way. I think that TikTok is much more a community where people are all participating in something collectively. When you go to YouTube, you're just going for the content. You're not really going for the community, or at least I've never heard anyone describe it that way. The way that everyone describes TikTok of like, yeah, I have like friends on TikTok and there's these people I follow that I love and they're so awesome and it makes me so happy to watch their content. So there's a lot of differences, not only in terms of right the physical layout. So again, a YouTube video is completely horizontal and a TikTok video is completely vertical, so completely opposite there. But then also the length of time, and then the way that just people engage through the platform.
All right. So here's another one. It's from a career-related perspective. Does TikTok, whoop, it moved on me. Does TikTok offer benefit to job seekers? For example, personal branding, to differentiate as a video integration applications increase, like BombBomb or Video Ask. Does that make sense to you?
Could you say the second part of the question again?
Okay, so from a career-related perspective, does TikTok offer benefit to job seekers?
So that part I got. So let me address that part first, and then ask me the second part. So I have not taken a lot of time to find out what benefits they offer their employees, but I have talked to a number of their employees, and I have kind of done some research around the buzz about working at TikTok, and people really like to work there. Their entire business is built, again, off of this idea of community, and that applies very directly into their employees as well. So I imagine that they have some nice benefits for, similar to any job where you have to, get past 90 days or whatever the requirements are, because they, as a huge company, you go through turn through and, you go through employees for all sorts of various reasons. And so I'm sure they have some requirements, but I'm also certain that they have a lot of benefits. Again, also because they're so in the public eye. If they didn't, I think they're very aware of their PR situations, right? Like as soon as they were starting to get really heavy bad PR about security, they hired, Disney CEO, and it all went away. And so they've been very strategic in terms of everything they've done with their company to make them look very good. Because I believe that's their intention in terms of like they want to do good, not just to look good, but also that they're aware of it.
Okay, so I think that what she's asking also is, does it help for her own personal branding to be on TikTok, so that because now people, when you're applying for jobs, they're looking at your videos, etc.
Gotcha. Yes. Yes. So the reason it helps, or there's many reasons it helps. One, it shows that you take initiative to do more work outside of your regular job. As an employee, as someone, myself as an employer, I'm always looking, what else are you doing in your life besides like your job? Because if you're not really doing much else, like I honestly don't want to hire you. Two, if you do well on TikTok, like let's say you do get a following of 50,000 followers, like that makes you look really good because it proves that you have skill in terms of taking video, probably in terms of editing video, that you are good creatively, and being good creatively makes you good in every single part of business and every single part of any career that you could be a part of. So I think those are just a couple reasons. I know there's a lot of people who are worried about, but what if I look like I'm a serious business person, I have a serious job, and like how can I post goof? Will it hurt my image? Will it hurt my brand if I'm posting goofy, silly stuff on TikTok. And the way I like to explain that is, would you feel silly wearing a bathing suit at a pool? No, probably not. Would you feel silly wearing your bathing suit into the office board meeting? Yeah, you might feel pretty silly. So you don't have to worry about it because TikTok's the pool and you're supposed to wear your bathing suit. Meaning it's the place you're supposed to be goofy, you're supposed to be silly. It's not a serious place. It's not LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn, I would suggest not posting. I mean, you could do whatever you want, but like from my experience, my goofy content doesn't do as well as my like serious business related content. So that's how I like to see it.
Awesome. Thank you. Can you talk more about the abilities of TikTok to drive revenue? Give some examples.
Absolutely. So I think that one of the best things about TikTok is it opens up revenue opportunities you're not aware of. And this is a more real thing in the world than it's ever been because of the global commerce and the way that there are literally billions of people who could be aware of you and need your service, your product, your whatever it is that you have to offer that you couldn't possibly fathom and make that connection on your own. And so TikTok allows you to, instead of being someone who's always chasing and hunting for sales, someone who simply does their thing and the sales and the revenue comes to them and the opportunities come to them. So what does that look like in concrete terms? Looks like getting paid for music promotion. Now you might think, well, my business is selling products on Amazon. Like my business is not a music business. So I'm not interested to make money that way or to start this TikTok thing just for that. Well, it's not just for that. This is a bonus or something that comes with it. This is a cherry on top. This is your whipped cream, okay? It's not the sundae, it's not the ice cream itself. And why it's something you should be interested in is it's the easiest money I've ever made, where someone messages me and says, hey, I'm a music artist. I love your account. I saw it on TikTok. I've got this new song coming out. I want to know how much you charge for music promotion. I hit them back. I say, it's $250 per post, or if you get, 10 posts at a time, I do a discount, yada, yada. And they go, awesome, let's do it. And I get paid. They send me a link. I post it on my video. It takes less than a minute for me to do the work involved because I put it on a video I was already going to post anyways. And if you extrapolate that out, if you made an extra $250 a day, every single day, and that was all profit, that's awesome extra revenue. And I really do think that there's even more potential past that, depending on your account, depending on the size, depending on if you let it come to you, if you do want to do some reach out for it. Other ways that you can monetize are through product sales. So if you run a successful campaign where, let's say it's not you just posting a video, but you really put together a TikTok campaign, you can drive huge amounts of sales. You can sell out. In fact, one great example would be, I think they're called Tiny Toys or Mini Toys, Mini Brand Toys. But they did a campaign on TikTok, and what they are tiny little plastic toys of all your favorite things. So a tiny little Sprite bottle and a tiny little bag of Dorito chips, just these tiny little like snacks and things. And kids went gaga for them, and they sold out everywhere they existed online. They sold out on their website. They sold out on Amazon. They sold out, and people were like, how do I get these? I want them for my videos. That's the other thing, you guys. When you see something in a video, again, you get that thought. TikTok has this nature of making you go, oh, that's cool. I want to try it. Because it only took them so long. It probably wasn't that hard. And yes, there are videos that are clearly complicated and took a lot of effort and time. But most of them in your head, when you watch it, you think, oh, I could do that. And that's a really powerful thing to drive sales, to drive people to want to purchase things just to make the video. And this is a real thing. In fact, I think a great example of it is over in China with Starbucks. Over here in America, we drink Starbucks, usually because we like Starbucks. Over there, they drink Starbucks for a status. It's like Gucci of coffee. So they'll have, groups of 4 people sitting at one table nursing one singular Frappuccino just so they can hang out in the Starbucks, take pictures with the latte, like get seen there. So I think the same thing is true with, being able to create attention around TikTok account is that TikTok's this like really interesting thing where people like want to be seen on, right? Everyone wants to be TikTok famous, and like everyone wants to make a video like that video they saw. They want to be a part of the club. You want to be a part of the group because it feels good. It's fun. You get to be creative. So I think there's tons of power to drive sales. I think there's tons of other revenue sources. So music being one, TV deals, licensing deals, I would say, you know, brand partnerships. And even if you already are your own brand, you still have a huge potential to do brand partnerships on TikTok because of that factor I mentioned earlier, which is that people aren't really consuming content through your page. They're consuming it through the For You page. And so that allows you to branch out into more content categories and do more variation in your videos than you would feel comfortable or really be okay doing on your Instagram account, where you're like, these are the 3 styles of pictures I post that do well. That's it. I don't want my account looking a certain way. And on TikTok, it's really people, again, your account doesn't look a certain way. It's not pretty pictures like Instagram. In fact, it's all videos that have movement. It's like a boomerang for the cover. If you haven't gone to TikTok, I highly suggest checking out, but each cover for the video is a boomerang. So you get to pick what the cover is. So there's like a lot of movement when you go to someone's profile page. It looks very different. It feels very different. There isn't that same feel you get when you go to someone's Instagram page. I don't know if I just said Instagram. I meant TikTok earlier. Let's see. Are there any other questions?
We have one last one.
Cool.
You had talked about YouTube and the length of the YouTube videos. What is the average time of a video on TikTok?
Yeah, so I don't have data from TikTok on that, but I can tell you that from my experience watching at least thousands, if not tens of thousands of videos by now on TikTok, almost none of them are longer than 15 seconds. So average, I would guess, is 10, because there are some that are 4 or 6 seconds, but most of them are going to be in that 10-second range. You know, does that get skewed by some videos that do very well that are, you know, a minute long? Maybe, I don't know. But I would say most of them are going to be right around 10 seconds. Awesome. And then let me go ahead on this slide that we've been on and just quickly say some words about that. So leveraging your TikTok success. As I said before, cross-platform. So literally just going on any platform you're on, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and doing a post about what you're doing on TikTok. Like, hey guys, today we just posted this picture or this video, I guess video for TikTok. We just posted this video and it got 10,000 views. We think that's crazy. Why do you guys think this video did so well? What connects with it? You know, what about it connects with you? Or really anything that you want to say about it, of like, we thought this was a really cool idea and we actually learned that you guys prefer this color, whatever it is. And then also talking about your strategies, not just what's happening, but what you think about what's happening. Like, is it going well for you? Share your experience around it, because that experience is really, really valuable to people. Then developing new products for your audiences. So this is something only some of you guys are going to be interested in, but I think it comes up as an interest out of TikTok when you do a video and you had one reason, like let's say you did a video around this water bottle and you did a video of pouring Kool-Aid into the water bottle. And you did that because you thought the Kool-Aid was a cool color and you thought it looked nice. And as you're doing this, you realize that really what people like is the Kool-Aid because you happen to use some like off-brand Kool-Aid. Let's say it was an actual Kool-Aid. And you realize, wow, I sell water bottles. I could sell Kool-Aid with my water bottles. That's a genius idea. Like, people would buy that. But you can basically come up with either complementary products to pair with your current products, or again, possibly even new product ideas. You also will have this new opportunity to connect with other influencers. So from my experience, people on Instagram do not like answering their DMs, especially if they're kind of famous or have any level of success at all on Instagram. Is like, I've almost never ever gotten a response from someone through my Instagram account before I got a large following on TikTok. Now afterwards, I can message almost anyone who I've strategically, like, who I have a reason to reach out to. So that's typically other artists or music artists. And I can reach out and say, hey, I'm at World of Glass with 2 million followers on TikTok, and I'm reaching out to you because of this reason. And I get 20 to 40% of those messages I get a response back from those. And those responses turn into relationships, and those relationships turn into value. And really, people who are successful have, honestly, more value to offer most of the time than people who are not successful. So being able to form relationships with other high-level influencers and form these relationships where you go, hey, I'm launching, you're talking to them in conversation, and you're like, yeah, I'm launching this new product next week. And they're like, that's awesome. Send me one and I'll totally do a post for you. And all of a sudden you're getting a free promotional post that they normally charge $1,500 for. And that's just one relationship. You add that up over time, you add that up with several people, it really becomes a significant and powerful force. And I'm really just talking about the power of your network, right? TikTok's a great way to grow your real connected network. And I've gained a lot of really amazing connections and friends through TikTok that have helped me in my career in the past, couple months, and have helped me as a person as well. All right, so remember that the best way to grab people's attention is to just be interesting. And if people are not interested in you, they won't listen to what you have to say, no matter how good it is what you have to say, right? Doesn't matter if you have the exact solution to their problem. If you can't grab their attention, then they're just not going to listen. And TikTok's just such a great way to get people to immediately pay attention to you in a way where they're curious and want to hear what you have to say, not interested in skeptical, interested in curious. And that's a powerful combination. So outside of like the following itself, I love TikTok because it allows you to create digital assets, AKA videos. And a video is a digital asset because you can chop it up, you can edit it, you can distribute it, you can reuse it, you can leverage it. So one way you can leverage it is to demonstrate customer interest. Let's say you are a B2B business, you don't sell direct to customer. You should be on TikTok too. And the reason for that is if you can show that customers do want your product, you can then approach retailers in a much stronger way to go, you guys need to buy our product. Look at all your customers who already want it. And I've gotten a ton of sales in B2B that way with my first business, which was a smoking accessory, and we sold to smoke shops. And they'd never heard of our product before. So I know it's highly, highly effective. You can also use TikTok as an education platform. So let's say you're not trying to drive sales, but you're trying to build trust. You're trying to drive loyalty. Let's say you already have customers. You're not worried about getting more customers, although we all should be. But you just want to make sure those customers stick around, that they keep spending money with you. If you keep providing them value through a TikTok platform, believe me, they won't go anywhere. You can also, again, with these amazing videos you're creating, distribute them onto Instagram. In fact, I save time now because I used to spend, let's say, 30 minutes or 40 minutes writing an Instagram post. And now I spend 10 minutes or 15 minutes making a TikTok post, which I then just share directly to my Instagram account. And that video does better than the previous posts I was doing on Instagram anyways. So saves me time, performs better. Also, TikTok's more fun than Instagram. So it's like a win-win-win situation. As I said before, you also get to form new relationships and grow your network through these videos because you have them saved. You can download a TikTok video to your phone anytime, and you can send it to someone to be like, hey, check this out. Here's something I did. Here's something I'm into. Here's something I want to show you. So a couple ways you can monetize. We've talked about this a little bit. Paid music promo is my favorite. Brand partnerships and advertising. TikTok itself even has some interesting different programs that it's coming out with. So TikTok has its own creator marketplace, which is basically a facilitation platform connecting brands and influencers. I'm not sure how the payment works on that. I don't believe it's directly through TikTok because I haven't gone through any of those brand deals yet. Usually I do my brand deals outside of the platform where people email me and then we work something out. Other ways that you can monetize if you're interested in this, I would say would be, TV and media opportunities. So this doesn't apply to everyone because not everyone's interested in that type of spotlight, but being on TikTok is going to be the new place that movie producers go for talent. And I know this because I talked to a pretty well-known movie producer who's working on a new show. And he said that they would way rather have someone on social media. They don't really care honestly, which platform that has 1 million followers than they would someone with 2 Grammy Awards. And that was a little mind-blowing to me. But the following that people have is really influential in a different way than TV commercials are influential, and people like to skip them or not even look at them because now we have phones. And during a TV commercial, I can look at my phone and literally pay zero amount of attention to the commercial. And guess what I'm probably watching? An influencer on my phone promoting a different product. So I think that if you're interested in that, same thing with speaking events, right? Just getting more well-known in general leads to more opportunities. Tony, do we happen to have any questions right now?
We have one more.
Cool.
Just like Facebook and LinkedIn, etc., they're algorithms. Does TikTok have algorithms that you need to understand to build your following?
Yeah, so the algorithm is synonymous with the For You page. So their algorithm delivers videos to your homepage in a way that is similar to, I would say, the most similar to Netflix, but probably has many more layers because it's on your phone. And I think phones can integrate these AI softwares better than laptops. Again, I'm not a techie, I don't know, but I haven't heard of any AI facial recognition software that is on your laptop. I have heard of it being on your phone. So I would imagine that, again, I don't have confirmation on this part or on any. They don't tell people how their algorithm works, but my thoughts and kind of consensus from lots of other people that I've talked to who are pretty educated in this space in terms of like other platforms and how they work and where the technology has evolved from, which I think is always important, is that it probably has facial recognition AI so that as you're watching a video, it understands how you feel about the video. It also has AI like Netflix that determines how much you like content based on behavior. So did you watch the video all the way through? Did you heart it? Did you leave a comment? Did you share? Those are all given different values in terms of how much you liked the video or would want to watch more content similar to that. It has most likely content AI, so like YouTube, where it can tell the difference between an apple and an orange, and it can read that, there's a pink unicorn in your video, and so it knows to show it to people who like pink unicorns. So there's lots of different levels of AI integration. In fact, it's built on AI. That is the main core of the entire platform, and that's why it's winning. That's also why it's evolving, and that's why it should be very interesting to you guys. Is the way it is now is most certainly not the way it's going to be in even 6 months or a year, because AIs learn, and AIs learn based on the speed of the data that or the volume. They learn as quickly as the amount of data that they're getting, and TikTok's getting a massive amount of data all the time, so it can learn very quickly. So I hope that answers your question. Yes, absolutely. Oh, one more thing, actually. So this is something cool I've thought about. One of the reasons I really love to push people onto TikTok is, for my own experience, all these things I talked to you guys about, like being able to understand that we pay more attention to reds, to purples, to oranges, that those colors matter, that the lighting matters. These are all things I learned from using TikTok. And the reason for that is we are an AI. Our brain it's not artificial intelligence. In fact, it's real intelligence, right? But if you think about our brain as being an AI computer, like a really advanced AI computer, and we're talking to, communicating with, talking is not right, we're communicating with another AI. And when AIs talk to each other and communicate with each other, they learn at an even greater speed. And so what's happened, and what I've experienced, and what I've seen lots of people experience, is when you use TikTok, you learn all these things that you sort of maybe thought before or had a little bit of awareness, but you really learn them. And in addition to that, you start to evolve your levels of creativity, because creativity is really, it's a skill, but it's not even quite so much a skill as something that we all have and can develop to really almost limitless degrees. Now, yes, some of us are naturally more creative, but creativity is something that can be catalyzed in many, many different ways. And TikTok is a wonderful catalyst for creativity. So real quickly, I want to go through, I know we're running close to time, so I'm going to go through how could you integrate TikTok. if this sounds great, but you like don't want to add a bunch of stuff, first identify your resources. Like, do you have a phone stand? Do you have a light ring? If not, I would really suggest getting those, because being able to put your phone in the stand and then set your camera, because this is what I do, is I batch create content, as you can see, which is where I'll set my phone in the stand, I'll let it just film on my camera for 30 minutes while I'm doing a bunch of videos, or while I'm getting a bunch of different shots of a video. And then afterwards, I'll just edit it in the Splice Editor app, chop it up into, let's say, 10 different videos, and then I can post those consistently throughout the week without having to take a bunch of time out of all the rest of my days, or being stressed about, oh, I'm supposed to post a TikTok video. It's like, it's been a day, and that mental strain can really, I think, be a negative thing. Outside of that, I would say, again, think of series of content that you can already quickly think about, like integrating into your life or your business. So for me, for anyone, that tends to be around certain things in common, like food. What are the foods you eat? Could you make eating time something visual that you could capture on TikTok? If you can, then that's something really quick and easy, because let's say maybe it takes 5 minutes, you're already making your food anyways, you're just taking those 5 minutes to film certain parts. Let's see. So you also want to make sure that you're not just posting, but that you're actually looking back at the videos and analyzing them and doing some review of your account, trying to gain an idea of patterns of why things are happening, and which content people are connecting with the most. The other thing I would say is, if you really want to dive into it, but you feel a little overwhelmed, is get a little bit of help. I would not look at TikTok as a short-term at all. TikTok is a 12-month minimum investment. And the reason I say that is it's probably going to take you 3 to 6 months to build any traction. Once you build that traction, though, you have a much larger opportunity to either scale quickly or to, again, start leveraging. But it's something that you have to be really consistent on. You have to be able to take the time to learn these different things, or at least to review and see, you know what? Here's where we're making progress. If we keep doing these things, keep reviewing, keep analyzing, keep improving, we'll get to our goal, because we're making progress that's very visible to us, and that is tangible as well. And that's it. If anyone else has any other questions, please feel free to comment them now.
One quick question. Is
Yes.
Maya Gordon your handle on TikTok?
No, it is World of Glass.
World of Glass.
And I've thought about changing it, because it started out as just a glass blowing account. And I now post a lot more content about, like, I love to experiment. So I got bored with the glass blowing videos. I started going, well, let me shoot some videos of my dogs and some fitness videos and some videos of my food. So now it's much more an account really centered around me. But I'm not going to change the name. One, because people are already familiar with it. Two, it doesn't matter. Like, names just don't matter. And I think people spend way too much time thinking about, like, is it a good name or a bad? It's like, if people like you, they'll like your name, pretty much.
Great. Well, thank you very much. This was so entertaining and so educational. You have any last words? I see that monkeyboyarts@gmail.com. If people want to get in touch with Maya, you can go there. Also,
yeah, the other place. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say the other place is LinkedIn. If you, I accept all my connection requests, so feel free to reach out and connect with me. That's probably, even though I gave a presentation on TikTok, LinkedIn's probably my favorite, because the people are so amazing, and I think the information's really great.
Oh, thank you. That's good to know. I also want to remind everyone that right after this session, you can go into a speed networking event, which is going to be amazing. Get to connect with people one-on-one, one-on-five. There is a link in the chat for that session. So you can go there and copy and paste it and head on over to that. Maya, any last words?
No, thank you guys all for, giving me your attention today. I hope that, you got a little bit excited about the possibilities with TikTok. It certainly has changed my life in some really amazing, exciting ways. And I think it could do the same for you guys too.